Hi everybody, Jeff Kelly, Chief Instructor with Xilin Martial Arts in Corvallis, Oregon. Today we're going to do an exercise that can help you with learning the silk reeling exercises of Chen Taijiquan. These are often difficult for beginners to learn, but they're absolutely essential to learning and mastering Chen Taijiquan. If you don't have silk reeling, you're not going to be able to make any of the applications work. And even the movements are not going to look properly. They're not going to flow in a proper manner. So I'm going to give you a couple tricks and a couple tips. Maybe this will help you or your students. So what's this all about? Well, the silk reeling exercises, we're going to get the parameter. I like to set parameters for them. So these are the parameters, okay? This is the center line, obviously. This is the hip, the shoulders. Now the fourth one, we can't put tape on. That's what I call the foot. So that, if I'm in a proper stance, my hand and foot will be in the same line, okay? We're not going to worry about stances today. We just want to get the upper body. So when I say foot, that's going to be out there. Now, the first thing we need to do is get the proper alignment of the arm. And one thing I like to do is have people put their hands on their hips and then raise their arm and slightly extend it. And this is the angle that you want. Obviously not there, not there. This angle here. That doesn't change. It's the shoulder that's going to move, the elbow, the wrist don't move. Obviously, I want my hand, my wrist straight. I'm going to be using roof tile palm hand. And that's where we're going to start. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to do an inward silk reeling exercise. So what are the parameters? I'm going to be here at the foot. Here's the hip. Come in to the center line, up to the shoulder, out to the foot. Okay, so down, across, up, and out. Okay, now let's do it correctly. So I'm going to, we've made a box, right? Obviously, the silk reeling doesn't go in a box. So what we're going to do is turn that box into a circle. And the way we do that is here. Okay. Now, before I get too much into it, let me show you another quick tip. You always want to follow your little finger. Okay. So that means if my hand is out here, the direction I want to go is towards my little finger. Okay, so that's going to cut in here. And when I flip my hand over, I'm still going to follow my little finger. That helps with your direction. Okay. The other thing, of course, you want to be watching your middle finger, and that will help with turning the body because I have that connection here. Okay, so it's going to look like this if I go inward. So hip, center line, shoulder, and foot, and then we continue. Now, here's a couple things to watch out for. Because we're observing in 2 dimensions, what's happening here can be very deceiving. So for example, as I come here, it looks like my hand is against my body. It's not. Okay, I'm coming here and turning my body with the hand. Now here it looks like I've gone too far, but I haven't. I'm right here in the center line. My hand is never going to go past the center line. So the other thing you want to do is, as you come down, you want to have some air, some space underneath your arm. Okay? When I come downward, it looks like I'm collapsing my arm here, okay? And I'm not doing that. By coordinating this with the body, turning the body, I can keep this the whole time. So I've got air under my arm the entire time. So I'm not collapsing here, I'm not collapsing here. That's the other thing. As I go down, right, it looks like I've collapsed and I haven't. It looks like I've gone past the center line and I haven't. Out here to the shoulder. Now the other thing, you watch the palm. If I'm doing this in the mirror, I always, in this case, always want to see my palm. So as I come down, you can see the palm. As I come across, you can see the palm right at the waist. All right, as I roll up, and I am rolling right in the center line, now you can see the palm again. Palm comes all the way out here. Okay. Now, two mistakes beginners make is, one, they put their fingers, they follow their fingers here. And obviously that's not what I'm doing. I'm having my palm here, cutting with the edge, the knife edge of the hand. Okay, coming up. The other thing beginners tend to do is have the hand flat as they come across you. Don't want to do that. You still want to have your roof tile palm. You want to be able to see your palm here. Okay, as I come to here. All right. Okay, so what that would look like is waist, center, shoulder, foot, and flow right into the next one. Okay. So this is not a bad trick to do at home, or, instructors, you could have your class do that, or you can do it yourself so they can see it. The other thing we want to pay attention to here, of course, is the dantian. We want to move the body with the hand. So what I like to think of is having a string attached to the hand, from the dantian to the hand. So I want to keep that taut. So as I move, I'm not moving my arm independently, I'm not moving my hips independently. I'm moving everything together. So you can see that line between the hand and the dantian, okay? Still here, here's my string. So I'm coming out here, I'm turning. Okay. And again, that is deceptive, looking like I'm overturning. I'm not, I'm right here. Okay? So you've got to get that coordination. And once you do, the entire body is doing silk whirling, not just your arm, but the entire body is rotating. Here, from my head, I'm turning, the arms, okay, the waist, the legs, even the feet are turning, even without a stance. Everything is moving together. Okay? Now, if we want to go outward, it's the same principle, except where do I put my hand? I mean, follow my little finger, right? So that's going there. I want to go the opposite direction, I turn my palm up. So now I'm following my little finger. Same parameters. Shoulder. Center. Down, waist. Foot. Okay? Tendency is for some students will come way out here with their hands. Now, same thing as if I was doing a stance right here. Okay? Now I flip up, come across here, and downward. Do it this way. So you can see the arm is not bent. It moves with the, not straight. It doesn't collapse. Okay. Got air underneath my arms. Turn my body. Now, some people wonder too, how far away should this be, right? got all those other parameters, but the simplest one is simply having that bend in the arm. So if you have the correct bend in your arm, right here, then that's going to tell you how far you stay away. If I don't, I get that. If I'm here, I get this collapsing thing. This way. Okay? So I want to follow my little finger in to the center line, out to the hip, and out to the foot. Roll upward, naturally come across. Okay? So I'm just turning that square into a circle. Okay? And for those of you that are advanced, you know your stances really well. Okay? I'm going to rotate the hips, the same thing. Here, to get that turn, I'm connecting with the dantian. Okay. From there, everything else is the same. So if I'm doing two-handed, and I'm just going to do this straight on, everything still applies. Okay? This is the center line. This is the foot. So a lot of times students they'll put their hands too close together or whatever. They don't have to. If they remember these parameters, then the distance is all going to be the same. So I'm going to start here. This one's going to come inward. Okay, this one's, both of them come inward. Or no, this is going outward, right? So I'm following my little finger in case I get confused like that. Okay, so foot and hips, rotate up, center line, shoulder, center line, foot, hips, and so on. So there's the square. And now, by turning the waist, that's where you get that connection. Again, looks deceptive, but by turning my waist, I keep from collapsing. Okay? Same thing if I go here. There's the parameters. There's the parameters. So I'm just doing that. Okay? So if you get the basic silk reeling, that's your foundation. I like to joke with my students, although it is a very serious point. I tell them, whatever the answer to any question about a movement in Chen Taijiquan is silk reeling. If you're having trouble with a movement, chances are you're not doing silk reeling properly. Okay? For those that know the Buddha's attendant pounds of mortar, I'm coming here, right? Coming up to here, center, turning here, stepping out, coming here. So all I've done with that is 3/4 of a circle of the various silk reeling. So I'm coming up here, my hands are in the straight line. This is in the center line. This is at the foot and the shoulder. I turn, center line, foot. That's all I've done. But you add, this is where it gets confusing, you add the foot and that gets confusing, and then you got to do this thing. But you complete it here. So all I've actually done is 3/4 of a movement here. Okay? You can practice that without the movement, without the body. Okay? You can practice, we do this a lot, coming here, but it's essentially that. If I do one hand, okay. If I do the other hand, a little harder to see that way, so again, we'll do 1, 2, we pause. That's what gets a lot of people, is you're pausing, essentially, and that makes it harder for them to continue. But again, you're just continuing here, and as you move forward, right, you haven't done anything different. Then, of course, you do something different, and that's, obviously, all the movements have something different in them, because you can't defend everything with 2 hands moving together. But essentially, all your movements are silkworm. That one goes above. That's one of the few examples that goes above. But that's your special movement. I'm still doing silk reeling. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So I think this is a great training method. That's what I do with my students, not necessarily with the tape. You can do it without. But it's a little easier to see the parameters here. All right. I hope that's helpful to you, both as students and instructors. And it's a few tips to make something that's very unnatural be a little more natural. I'm Jeff Kelly, Chief Instructor with Xilin Martial Arts in Corvallis, Oregon, reminding you that martial arts are for life.